All right. There's one story I want to comment on, and it's devolved even in the I waited 24 hours, and now it's I'm seeing it go around the social media in the big outrage fire that it causes because nobody looks at what's actually said. Nobody looks at they just read headlines that they don't, and they read opinion pieces, and they read the article or the part of the article that expresses the outrage, but they won't go out of their way to watch, the 60 seconds there's a video they're supposed to be outraged about. So, John C. Eastman is a law professor, writes this article for Newsweek, and he basically says, well, look, Kamala Harris, like, technically she's not eligible for VP because although she was born here, both of her parents were subjects of essentially another country. Which is true because the parents were there under with work visas, so technically that's correct. Now the problem is that's been thrown out because it's supposed to be both your parents are supposed to be U.S. citizens. They can be naturalized, they can be immigrants, but when you're born, your parents are supposed to be U.S. citizens. Now that's been kind of it's never been enforced. And some people could be looked at, like, for instance, Barack Obama. Even if you believe he was born in, I should say, let's assume you believe he was born in the United States. Even if you believe that, everybody does agree that, his father was not a U.S. citizen, Kenyan. And that means, technically, he's ineligible. That was actually where that whole conversation started. And then it became, oh, well, what, you want to see his birth certificate? And then, of course, well, of course we do. And then he hides it, and then it's, well, are you, like, we all know where that went. And they said it was racist. But no, but actually, that actually was a good question. And is that something we should change? Maybe. I mean, there's plenty of great Americans who are good political leaders whose parents were foreign citizens. And that was why Ted Cruz was allowed to run in 2012. Because he has the same problem. I think his father or mother was a Canadian when he was born. So that meant that technically he was ineligible. But because Barack Obama they just ignored it, they waived it for him. Nobody would challenge Ted Cruz on it, because it brings up uncomfortable questions. And with Kamala, or Kamala, however you want to say it, because it doesn't matter. Both of her parents were not U.S. citizens. So now that actually is like, that's the big question. It's like, if one of them wasn't a U.S. citizen, that's supposed to DQ you. Okay, we let that go. But now we're letting somebody run who both of them weren't U.S. citizens? I don't know. It's not that huge of a deal, except, I do think there's reasons for these things. Because you're not, there's supposed to be kind of a generational investment into who the leader is. But the thing is this wouldn't be an issue if at all, I guess ironically, if the president had the power that he had back in, early 1800s, or even really just like the pre-Wilson era. The executive has expanded massively. And that's where the issue is, and the way to I should say mitigate the fact that there was a chance that the executive might expand and become a threat was to, well, at least make sure it's somebody who at least has been here, whose parents were American, and they've been here as American, they've been born here, like they weren't at any point subjects of the other countries. I mean, yeah, that's that is a failsafe, but we've kind of decided we're going to ignore that because they ignored it for Barack Obama. So I guess it's I guess it doesn't count anymore. Whatever. That's the whole explanation of what the argument was. Now, somebody And this is why it's an outrage all of a sudden, because that is actually an interesting question, and I think you could actually talk to somebody about it who maybe wasn't like easily like just freaking out assuming you're racist for even talking about this, because that's just what people do now. Well, some reporter asked the president about it at the press conference, and he said, yeah, there was a highly respected attorney, you know how he says, was saying something about, what did he say? Did he say she wasn't born here? No, saying she's not eligible because her parents were not citizens. He said, I don't know. I don't know much about that. I'll have to look into it. I don't know. That's what he said. That's the... He didn't say anything other than, what are they... He asked the guy, what are they saying? He said, the attorney is highly respected. I know that this is a thing, but I haven't really looked at it. That's what he said. So now there's 1,000 headlines, and I keep seeing people who just want to play the racism angle. They keep saying, "Oh my God, it's birtherism again." Even Newsweek, I just searched for that article on their website, and I can't find it anymore. It's gone. But there are 2 articles saying, yes, Kamala Harris is eligible. So they're covering their ass. Because, outrage at Newsweek for, God forbid, bringing up a legal technicality for a problem that hasn't been solved. We probably need a vote on this because it would require an amendment to the Constitution. So there probably needs to actually be an amendment. Otherwise, it's like, if you can be loosey-goosey with this, then you can be loosey-goosey with anything, technically, right? Now, this is such a small fish, but it's a good question, and I appreciate that there's at least somebody looking out for the technical meaning of the legal text. But you can't have that conversation in 2020 because if you bring that up and the subject of it is not Ted Cruz, you're a racist. So I've been seeing people on Facebook, particularly Facebook, just friends, left-wing friends, or acquaintances, and sure enough, I had of course heard about this, and I also had saw the question be asked to the president live, and I was like, oh, here we go. And then it became the how dare Newsweek say this. But then, of course, very quickly I started seeing the headlines of Trump pushes birtherism, ? And like all the split speak and all this other crap, right? That they just they basically they frame it in a way where it's as if he was questioning her eligibility. And he wasn't questioning her eligibility. He said, what are they saying? I understand I understand it's being questioned. Why? I guess I'll have to look at it. I don't know. And that's completely different. Now, in reality, he probably should have just said, next question, just like he did to the guy who was like, are you sorry for having lied to... That's not journalism. And what this other guy did was not journalism either, because he could have... The story was too new. It wasn't like it was a bombshell or anything. It just was something that they wanted him to talk about it at all, so that they could say they could paint him that he questioned it, that he's a birther or something for Kamala. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it at this point. But whatever. That's the crap you're gonna see. Go ahead, and there's no talking these people off the ledge, man. They just believe what they believe, and it's a mess. So.